koka, kuna shinda kubwa hapo. Mstahiki Spika, sheria ya usimamizi wa fedha 158 inasema wazi ya kwamba afisa mhasibu mkuu katika ukaguzi la county ni gavana mwenyewe. Masuala ya kiti ambayo inasemekana kwamba Bwana Oduor ninunua, hiyo ni swala linafaa kuulizwa gavana wa Siaya, lakini sio naibu wake. Na ningetaka tusijifanye manafiki hapa. Ningetaka kuuliza kiongozi wa chache katika upande wa Azimio asimame kama anajua bei ya kiti ambayo amekalia. Na kama anajua mstahiki Spika, tutajua pia naibu wa gavana katika gatuzi ya Siaya hako na makosa. Kama ajui, itakuwa ni makosa kumwekelea mwenzake kusema na makosa na hali yeye hahusiki katika ununuzi wa bidhaa katika gatuzi la Siaya.
Senator Mazayo. Senator Murango, it was indeed out of order for you to refer to Senator Mazayo, asking him whether he knows the value of that seat he sat on. Whether he knows or not, it is not material to this debate. Proceed.
Ningeuliza Senator Sifuna utulie muhenga usikiza busara. Asante sana Mstahiki Spika, ningetaka kusema ya kwamba kuanzia mwaka wa 2017 mpaka mwaka wa 2022 nimekuwa mwakilishi wandi MCA na majority leader la gatuzi la Kirinyaga. Mstahiki Spika, naibu wa gavana wananyanyaswa sana na magavana ambao wako kwa mamlaka. Na venye wananyanyasika mstahiki Spika, wale hata hawezi ongea kitu mahali popote. Hata saa hii ukiuliza maseneta kama wanajua manaibu wa gavana kama 5 hawawezi kusema mstahiki Spika. Na sasa nasimama hapa nisiwe moja wa kutumika katika huu mradi wa Azimio wa kumngoa naibu wa gavana wa Siaya, mimi nikiwa ni senator wa Kirinyaga. Mstahiki Spika,
Senator Murango, please don't invite trouble. Certainly you're out of order, and proceed to retract the statement where you are referring this impeachment process as a project of Azimio. Retract that statement.
Mstahiki Spika, kwa heshima kubwa naondoa ile maneno ambayo nimesema hapo kama awali.
Senator Murango, would you wish to be informed by Senator Sifuna?
Yes, Mstahiki Spika, Senator Sifuna ni wakili, lakini wakati ananionyesha jia ama ananiambia
either yes or no, Senator.
Nakataa kwa sababu muda wangu utaisha.
Okay, proceed.
Mstahiki Spika, ningetaka niseme ya kwamba katika maamuzi ambayo inafanywa na hii seneti ni vizuri ifanywe kwa njia ya haki, kwa sababu Waswahili wanasema katika mahakama ya mbuzi ya fisi, mbuzi hapati sheria, hawezi kupata haki. Na katika hili bunge nataka nihesabiwe kwamba mimi si moja ambayo wanatajwa nalo Waswahili. Nikimalizia Mstahiki Spika, wale Waswahili ndio wanasema kipembacho kikivunja ni nafuu kwa mchukuzi. Inaonyesha wazi kwamba kinachovunja katika county gatuzi la Siaya ni uongozi wa Siaya, lakini sio wandogo ambao wameletwa hapa kutolewa kafara ili kufurahisha wachache. Mstahiki Spika, namalizia niseme ya kwamba wakilishi wandi wa Siaya msiruhusu kutumika, pia mfanye kazi kwa haki kama mlitumika. Sijasema mlitumika. Na kama ukweli ni kwamba mnatumika kutoka na watu wengine, ni afadhali pia kujiuzuru, muajiriwe na wale ambao wanamtumia vibaya. Kwa hiyo mengi na machache, nashukuru sana Mstahiki Spika. Naomba kukaa.
Senator Mazayo.
Asante Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, la kwanza nataka kuwapatia kongole wale ndugu zetu walioketi katika hii kamati. Wamefanya kazi muhimu na wamefikisha mwisho. Umuhimu wa hii kamati yetu, umuhimu wa kamati ndani ya bunge la Senate ni kwamba unaweza kuongoza na ukachukua msimamo ambao kawaida ya sisi kama wabunge wa Senate huwa tunakubaliana na ripoti ya kamati yetu. Na jambo zuri ni kwamba ripoti hii inayoongozwa na Kipsang akifuatiwa na Montet kama naibu wake ni ripoti ambao wameiandika kwa hali ya juu sana. Nataka kuwapatia kongole pamoja na wale wenzao wote akina Mogendi, Onyonka, Maanzo, Sheikh Mohamed, Mofaya, Muma, Mutinda, Abdurrahman na Chimera ndugu wangu. Nataka kusema ya kwamba ripoti ikiandikwa kama hivi na wakikubali.
Senator Nyamo and Senator Kingi, kindly take your seats.
Na wakikubali ni kwamba ni ripoti mwafaka. Mimi nataka kusema ya kwamba tu hii kamati imefanya kazi yake na watu hawa 11 wamepata kwamba kuna hatia. Na si moja peke yake, hatia zimepatikana ni 2, makosa mawili. Kosa la kwanza na kosa la pili. Kawaida kosa likipatikana hata moja katika kamati kama hii, wakipata kosa, wakileta hapa, Senate huwa inaunga mkono kosa lile na yule mtu huwa anafaa kuachishwa kazi. Bwana Spika, tunaona ya kwamba kunao muhimu ya kwamba katika ile chaji ya kwanza ambao ni mambo ya kununua bidhaa za county, na kulikuwa na utendakazi kinyume na ile sheria inayotambuliwa ya procurement. Bwana Spika, nataka kuuliza swali moja. Katika viti vyote hivi vinavyoketiwa na wakubwa, sijasikia kiti ambacho kinachukua zaidi ya milioni 1. Na kiti hicho kililetwa katika kamati na kama kithibitisho na kila mtu alikiona, itakuwa jambo la kusikitisha sana hivi leo ikiwa tutaangalia kiti kama kile kikiwa kimeenda na milioni 1.1 ya zile pesa. Itakuwa jambo la kusikitisha sana. Kama hatia kama hii imepatikana, ni jambo la kusikitisha ikiwa sisi kama seneta tutakubaliana ya kwamba ni haki mtu kununua kiti kama kile, hali bei yake haifiki ile bei inotakana, na alafu amechukua pesa zingine zimeenda hivyo hivyo bila zimeenda kiholela. Kwa hiyo katika hii ripoti mimi nataka kusema hiyo vile wameandika kwamba kiti hichi hakikutosha zile pesa za milioni 1, ni kwamba wamesema ukweli kabisa na hatia imepatikana, na hatua ya kumfurusha mamlakani ni lazima ichukuliwe. Bwana Spika, kosa la pili, katika kutumia ofisi vibaya na mienendo mibaya ya kudanganya wananchi kwa kupeana habari za uongo. Bwana Spika, hili ni jambo la kutisha na jambo la kusikitisha zaidi, ya kwamba wewe ukipewa mamlaka, tuna imani ya kwamba unaweza kuendesha yale mamlaka yako kisawasawa kulingana na sheria. Kama tunavyoona huyu bullfighter, yeye ana represent watu wa Kakamega kisawasawa, hayuko kwenye ripoti, lakini mimi nasema ana represent kisawasawa. Lakini hivi leo kutumia mamlaka kwa njia mbaya, kutumia mamlaka kwa njia ya kusambaza uongo, mimi naona ya kwamba ikiwa kosa kama hili limepatikana wa kuweza kusambaza hizi habari kwa njia ya uongo, mtu muongo anaweza kuleta shida kubwa sana ndani ya kaunti. Kuongea mambo ya uongo unaweza kufanya watu wakapigana, unaweza kufanya mambo watu wakauana, unaweza kufanya mambo ambayo yanaweza kutenda vitu ambavyo wewe huwezi kuvitetea tena wakati vikiwa vimetendeka. Kwa hiyo tunasema tu ya kwamba hii ripoti tuiunge mkono na tukubaliana ya kwamba afurushwe mamlakani, atoke kwenye hali mamlaka ya naibu wa ugavana.
Senator Fatuma Dulo.
Mr. Speaker, I stand to oppose this motion and this report. Mr. Speaker, having sat in this House for some time, I can confirm that all the impeachment that came to the floor of this House, it's all political. And I wish to confirm also this one is political. Reason being, Mr. Speaker, if I look at the grounds of removal of the Deputy Governor of Siaya, Mr. Speaker, all these grounds are flimsy, in the sense that, number one, if a governor has actually told the truth that he has interfered or he has directed in the procurement, surely this is a very truthful person. And the best that the County Assembly of Siaya should have done, they should have abandoned this particular person. And Mr. Speaker, this ground does not actually amount to impeachment, which clearly shows that Siaya County, they want to kill the political career of one deputy governor of Siaya County. The second ground, Mr. Speaker, if you look at it, is actually misleading the public. All politicians mislead the public or say information that are not fruitful. Mr. Speaker.
What is your point of order, Senator Sifuna?
Mr. Speaker, on statements of fact, I don't know what evidence Senator Dulo has that, in fact, all politicians mislead the public. I want to be shown the data, the statistics, because it is not fair, Mr. Speaker, to blanket condemn everyone, including myself, who is also a politician. I would want to see that data, Mr. Speaker, so that we can tell with certainty that she knows what she's speaking about.
Senator Dulo, you cannot make a blanket condemnation on a whole class, the politicians. Maybe you know a few, but it cannot be all of them.
Mr. Speaker, let me rephrase it. Majority of politicians give wrong information to the public, and nobody has ever been prosecuted because of that. And in this case, I don't see the reason why the Deputy Governor of Siaya is actually impeached as a result of that. We have only carried 2 impeachments on the floor of this House for the time I've been in this House, Mr. Speaker. The one of Governor Waititu, which was, he was actually the Governor Waititu of Kiambu, was carried. And that was political then. Number 2, the second actually governor who was impeached was governor for Nairobi. It was equally political. Mr. Speaker, I don't see the reason why a career of somebody who has built his career for the last 30 years be killed because of those 2 allegations against him. And the best that this committee and assembly should have done is actually to subject this matter to audit as they have indicated in their report. And number 2, to refer it to EACC to investigate on the matter. Mr. Speaker, I oppose this report as it is. Thank you.
Senator Oduor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I stand to support this report. And Mr. Speaker, when I read the report and saw on page 11 the names of all the members of the special committee, Mr. Speaker, I thought that this was a bipartisan report, which included everybody. Mr. Speaker, this is because I did not see any appendage of a minority report. Because when a report is made and it is voted, and there is majority and there is minority, the cardinal principle of democracy is that the minority will have their say, but the majority will have their way. And Mr. Speaker, when the minority have their way, if you have very strong feelings against what the majority have passed, then you draw a minority report and attach to the report. But we did not see such. Mr. Speaker, it is very surprising that on the floor of the House, I see members now trying to drag us through who voted where. Mr. Speaker, really, how would we know? Because it is not in the report. Whether you voted this way or you voted, what we have seen is a report signed by all the 11 members of the committee. Mr. Speaker, this is a very painful process for us as the people of Siaya. Mr. Speaker, as a senator of Siaya, when these things started, it started as a joke. I thought that this was just a very small issue between the governor and his deputy. And this matter started coming into the public, but then it just grew bigger and bigger, and the deputy governor went haywire, making very, very many allegations, which of course were not proven. But it was very surprising, Mr. Speaker. I tried to intervene. As a senator, I would really not just sit by and watch the executive quarreling, which actually results into non-delivery of service or very, very sketched delivery of service by the executive to the people. Because our mandate is given or donated by the people of Siaya. And the people of Siaya expect to get services from the executive of Siaya. And Mr. Speaker, when there is a quarrel between the two giants, or when the two bulls are fighting, Mr. Speaker, it is the grass that suffers. And the grass is the Siaya people. And I'm pleading with the Senate. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleading with the Senate. And if you don't go by the report, the recommendation of this report, it will mean that the deputy governor will go back to his office. And when he goes back to his office, I don't know, Mr. Speaker, what we expect. How you expect the governor to work with the same deputy who has besmirched his name and has done whatever, pulled it through the NAMAD, and this matter is now before us. We are having facts. Mr. Speaker, I don't think there is any bigger offense than being proved to have violated the Constitution of Kenya. I don't know whether there is any bigger offense, and if there is, I don't know. It has yet to be proved to me, but I know in this country, the biggest offense is to violate the Constitution, to contravene, and this has been proved by this committee. Mr. Speaker, I therefore would like to plead with my colleagues that please, Siaya people are part and parcel of Kenya. They are shareholders. Don't.
Senator Chirange.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for this opportunity. From the onset, I rise to oppose these reports. Mr. Speaker, an impeachment procedure is a political procedure and a political process. When you look at my Mbuvi case in the Supreme Court, it should follow certain procedures. Mr. Speaker, I am sad. I've read that there are two charges. One, under Section 148, Deputy Governor His Excellency William Oduor is a man of integrity. He has worked with many international organizations with repute. Mr. Speaker, the Senate does not serve as a ground of sanitizing or processing political disputes, political egos, or machismo, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, when the great people of Siaya, which is over 500,000, went to polls, they elected our brother and my good friend, Senior Counsel, Governor James Orengo, and William Oduor. They are joined at the hip, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, we should be treating the Deputy Governor, William Oduor, as a whistleblower, Mr. Speaker, sir. Because of speaking against corruption, corruptions, Mr. Speaker, in Siaya, he is being sacrificed at the expense of others, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to challenge EACC. They should have descended, Mr. Speaker, sir, to Siaya County like yesterday to investigate why 1.1 million was purchased, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, under Article 2265 of the Constitution of Kenya, the final culpability stays and stops at the back of the governor of Siaya, Mr. Speaker. That is the Constitution, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to challenge Governor Orengo to look at the eyes of the people of Siaya and tell them he approved and processed the payment of 1.1 million, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, under Section 148, Mr. Speaker.
What is the point of order, Senator Cherengei? A minute. What is the point of order, Senator Mazayo?
Bwana Spika, tunaelewa kabisa ya kwamba ni haki yake kuongea vile anavyoongea, lakini tu kanuni zetu za kudumu katika hii bunge zinasema ya kwamba huwezi kuongea juu ya mtu ambaye hayuko hapa. Na wewe umeshafanya uamuzi huo mara nyingi. Kwa hiyo mimi nataka kuuliza, je, ni sawa sawa kwa ndugu yangu Cherargei na anaelewa sheria na amekuwa kiongozi wa ile kamati ya sheria kuweza kutaja jina la mtu bila kwamba huyo mtu hayako hapa ndani ya bunge kuweza kujitetea?
Senator Mazayo, Senator Cherengei is giving a dissent. He's dissenting from the report. And his point is that the person who is ultimately in charge is the governor. In this case, the governor is called Orengo. I don't see anything wrong with that. Proceed, Senator Cherengei.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. As you are aware, I'm the highly sought after legal practitioner in this republic. So my prowess precedes my name, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, under Section 148, Mr. Speaker, of the Public Finance Management Act, Mr. Speaker, you know Senator Sifuna is haggling for nothing. You can haggle tomorrow, not in the Senate. Section 148, Mr. Speaker, of the Public Finance Management Act. Accounting officers does not include a deputy governor.
Yes.
It designates the CCM. The law is very clear. The law is crystal clear. Deputy Governor Oduor is not an accounting officer as per the PMF Act, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to assure, and I've read the report, I don't know why Senator Sifuna is shouting across the floor for no reason, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker,
Cherengei, can
the
you
Senate...
proceed to conclude your intervention?
I still have time, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is very important that I have read the report on the aspect of misleading the public, Mr. Speaker. No one has controverted, even the governor or the office of the governor. We were never shown a letter that the governor controverted the allegations of misleading public by DG Oduor, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this house is a house of integrity. We shall not invite political disputes, Mr. Speaker, to be resolved here, Mr. Speaker. The deputy governor, Mr. Speaker, does not sit in tender committees. He is not an accounting officer, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we need to protect evolution under Article 96,
Senator
Mr. Speaker.
Cherengei, would you wish to be informed by Senator Osotsi?
No, on this one, if
Proceed.
it was issue of Ugali, I would have agreed, but on this one, I disagree.
Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in conclusion, they say the arc of moral universe is long, but it bends to justice. The people of Siaya are getting justice today because we will ensure DG Oduor go back to his work, Mr. Speaker, and continue to serve the people of Siaya. Mr. Speaker, you saw our troops in the National Assembly of Kenya Kwanza during the finance bill. The same knife we use at the National Assembly, Mr. Speaker, is we shall use to vanquish and ensure we incinerate anybody who would want to allow the corruption to be sanitized, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I oppose this report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
At this juncture, honorable senators, I will call the mover to reply.
Honorable Speaker, I rise to reply. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank all the 11 members of the special committee. They sat, they slept very late, past midnight, we deliberated, and I want to urge the House that even as we dispose this particular motion, it is important that we look at this particular deputy governor and governor relationship, so that we do something as Senate that will help devolution and help the counties. And I urge all members that you vote using your own wisdom. You've heard what members have said. It's now up to each one of us, the 47 delegates, to decide the vote of the deputy governor. Thank you. I reply.
Now, honorable senators, before we move to division, I will give an opportunity to the deputy governor or his council, an opportunity to be heard by the plenary. Sergeant at Arms, can you kindly usher in the deputy governor and his council?
Anaingilia huko.
Sergeant at Arms, was the deputy governor in Siaya? Or he was within the chamber? Order members, do we have the Deputy Governor of Siaya in the chamber? Now, Deputy Governor, you have under 30 minutes to be heard by the plenary. You may do so yourself or through your duly chosen and appointed advocate. The podium is yours.
Mr. Speaker, sir, and the senators in the House, good evening. My name is William Oduor. I am the Deputy Governor for Siaya County, and I have listened to the proceedings. I have been here the entire afternoon. I, at this point, would wish to ask my counsel to come and give our closing remarks. But before he comes, allow me, with humility, to introduce the council that I have here. I have Mr. Moses Chelanga, and he's the one that is going to make our final submissions. And I have Mr. Patrick Baraza, both councils. Mr. Paul Nyamodi, who was with the committee the other day, is not able to join us today, but he is ably represented. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I will therefore ask my counsel, Moses Chelanga, to come and give our final submission. I thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Moses Chelanga, counsel for the Deputy Governor of Siaya County, Mr. Dr. William Oduor, CPA. I'm told in Siaya those titles are very important to be noted. Mr. Speaker, sir, there was a lot of heavy weather that was made over a chair worth 1.2 million shillings. And there was an allegation or a charge against the governor on bulldozing, bullying, and twisting procurement to ensure that that chair was purchased for his benefit. That particular charge, Mr. Speaker, sir, has been found by the committee to be unsubstantiated. And therefore, that drama before the committee, led by the able governor of Elgeyo Marakwet, Mr. Kisang, it was a necessary drama. The committee found that the deputy governor was in no way involved in the procurement process, and he was therefore acquitted in the manner of speaking of that particular charge. Mr. Speaker, I have heard with the deliberation by the members of this House about the relationship between the governor and the deputy governor. And during the committee, the deputy governor said that they had a very good camaraderie, good working relationship with his boss, senior counsel James Orengo, whom we hold in a very high regard, especially on this side of the divide whereby we practice law. And he made a very interesting remark that they used to put on matching suits. And it was a comment that is not our first time. We've had an interesting story of people putting on matching suits, and it ends up into another quagmire. Mr. Speaker, I would just want to make two remarks. One is that the deputy governor has been found on the accounts of bullying, intimidation. That charge was substantiated. But at the same time, the committee found that this particular governor, or deputy governor, sorry, for that matter, interfered with procurement. On one side of the mouth, the committee says that the governor did not intimidate anyone, did not bully anyone, did not twist anyone. Then on the other side, it says he interfered with procurement. How does that sit before this particular House? How is that the integrity of that report, because it is a house of record. And we will read it. Our children will read it. It will be subjected to debate in this house and the house before. So I would also want this full house to also consider that particular recommendation by the House. It has been submitted also that this is a political process. Yes, it is. It is legal and political process. And I would like the Speaker and the House to revisit the answer of 26th of June 2020. That is the re-impeachment of the governor of Kirinyaga then, who is now the Council of Governors chairperson, and Waiguru. And once profound submissions that were made by our senior colleague, which incidentally is also maybe is not a subject of these proceedings, but I'm just quoting it, is that Honorable James Orengo, senior counsel, senator of Siaya then, made remarks and said, and made a reference to the Bible, that the story of Herod and Herodia, and said that when this beautiful girl who danced to the king, and the king asked, I can grant you anything you want, and then went to the mother, Herodia, and Herodia said, I want the head of John the Baptist. But because the king had made that promise, the head had to be delivered. And that's how John the Baptist was beheaded. And my senior colleague made humble submissions that we know who wants the head of Waiguru. This house should make that profound submission. And I submit, we know who wants the head of James Oduor. In a platter. So in this case, I make and I submit that this House should vote in the negative for the impeachment of Senator William Oduor. Sorry, Mr. Speaker, Deputy Governor, Honorable William Oduor. Because politics happen. Harry Truman once said that in Washington politics, if you want a friend, get a dog. So there's no friendship. But you see, we should not sacrifice our constitution for political expediency, because the boss doesn't want his deputy, then we can throw him under the gallows. No. And the law is very clear. Submissions have been made before the committee, in this house, and even in the Supreme Court, in the case of Mike Mbuvi Songo, highlight the most recent case in the Supreme Court. They set out a threshold of impeachment. Gross violation. Not every violation is gross, and I'm sure the Speaker and the members will consider that. Finally, Mr. Speaker, is that on the issue of the role of governor and the deputy governor, which members have heavily made submission about it, is that this role needs to be submitted and needs to be reviewed by you as honorable members of this House, because it's your role to defend devolution. Because under Article 179, no one knows what is the role of the deputy governor. He's saying he's the deputy chief executive officer. Article 33(2), I think, says that you will do any other role that he may be assigned by the governor. And on this particular matter, there was a letter that the governor wrote to the chief officer of finance, instructing him to be, from time to time, be briefing the deputy governor on issues within that particular department. And in discharge of that particular responsibility, the deputy governor would, from time to time, ask briefing, make suggestions, ask for updates from the Department of Finance, which includes procurement. How is that interference? So we should also ask the governor, did he write an illegal letter? That he instructed his deputy governor to interfere with procurement, to interfere with finance docket. Then this impeachment should be a joint impeachment of the governor and the deputy governor. That is why you need, as this House, I implore you to have a policy decision on way going forward. And I told the committee about a political joke in the US that what is the role of a deputy governor? He says, what is the role of the deputy governor? It's a joke in a political circle that say, he wakes up in the morning, reads the newspaper, check if the governor is alive or dead. If he's not dead, then goes back to sleep. Because that is the role. So at least going forward, on behalf of all the deputy governors, we would also ask that this becomes a policy decision. And finally, Mr. Speaker, is that I think Honorable Buru made a very profound statement that he tried to intervene. And I think also when we stop talking, we start fighting. As a country going forward, I think it is important also for this House to provide a way of mediating political disputes instead of going to impeachment. And I'm very much aware, but when there is a dispute between the House and the National Assembly, there is always a mediation committee. Maybe as a way forward, as a policy reform, I would recommend that also there would be a way of an alternative dispute resolution other than drawing swords on each other. So that I yield to my colleague, Mr. Baraza, to make one comment on this, and then we'll close our submission to allow you to retire and make a vote. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for your time.
Mr. Speaker and the senators in the House, I'll address two issues. One is the issue whether the threshold for removal of the deputy governor has been met, and then I'll make a comment on one of the charges that has been found to be substantiated. On my first issue, whereas the impeachment process is a political process, it's also a process that is duly guided by the Constitution, and the ground for impeachment are clearly provided under Article 181 of the Constitution. And if you read carefully the provisions of Article 181, there's a specific term that has been used, gross violation of the Constitution or any other law, gross misconduct. Even as you retire to vote on that report, would like the Senate to put that in mind. Has the charges that were brought before against the deputy governor gross? That's one thing that we want the Senate to put in mind, even as it vote towards that report. I'd also like to comment on the first charge that has been substantiated, the charge of interference with procurement process. Mr. Speaker and the senators, you'll note that when the motion for impeachment was drafted, the particular section under which the deputy governor was charged with is section 47(1) of the Public Procurement and Disposal Act. However, Mr. Speaker and the members of the Senate, if you look at the report, the provision under which that charge has been found to be substantiated is section 67(3) of the Public Procurement Act. And I'll refer the senators to page 40, and also you can look at the comparison. So the question is it fair to charge somebody under this particular provision of the law, and then you find him guilty or substantiate the charge under a different particular provision of the law? We urge that the Senate vote on this motion, and we'll hope that you're going to exonerate the deputy governor. That's all.
Now, honorable senators, having heard the deputy governor, we shall now proceed to division. However, pursuant to Standing Order 84-2, I have to make a determination, which I hereby do, that this matter affects counties, and therefore voting shall be by delegates. Sergeant at Arms, kindly ring the division bell for 5 minutes.
Well, the Speaker of the Senate has directed that the division bell be rung for 5 minutes. Of course, the impeachment hearings for the Deputy Governor of Siaya are coming to the tail end. This is after an afternoon-long debate on this impeachment proceedings. What we have just concluded on is the debate by the members of the Senate on that report by the committee. A number of issues coming up during that particular debate. Of course, with members indicating that the report was voted on unanimously. This means by all the 11 members. Remember, the report has proposed for the impeachment of the deputy governor. However, the House remained divided on which position to take on this matter, as members who were part of the committee indicated that there are some of them who voted no to the impeachment, while some voted yes to the impeachment. But yet again, in a quick rejoinder, various members stood to fault them, indicating that they should or could have come up with a minority report that would have led the House to understand that they are sort of divided in this report, because at the beginning the report indicated, or rather shows, that it was signed by all the 11 members who were agreeing to the impeachment, even though 5 of the members voted no to the impeachment and 6 of them voted yes to the impeachment. Other issues that came up include the position that was taken by different members, with some indicating that this particular situation should fall on the hands of the governor and not the deputy governor. If there were any issues on the procurement, if there were any issues that are said to have been abuse of office or gross misconduct within the county government, then should have been taken upon by the governor, perhaps to even raise the alarm to the ethics and anti-corruption body to alert them and have them do an audit on all these. As members indicate that the deputy governor whatever is happening to the deputy governor is a witch hunt, and if there are any cases that detail whatever is happening in the county, then should have been taken up much earlier by the governor and alert the anti-corrupt body to come and handle the issue. But members, being divided, yet indicated that the deputy governor in the report, while appearing before the committee, agreed to have interfered or attempted to interfere with the procurement process, which has actually been the basis of the gross misconduct that members have been quoting in this debate, with some indicating that if there has been such allegation and that has been substantiated, then he is facing an interference with procurement, and then that is a charge that should, send him home, and that there should be no further debate on that. But again, as members have been calling it, that the impeachment process is political, and yet there is the constitutional aspect of it, that legal frameworks have to be followed. And that is basically what has been happening throughout since members came back after deliberating or interacting with the report that was submitted by the committee that was mandated to investigate the allegations that were leveled against the deputy governor of Siaya County. Each member had 5 minutes to give out their opinions or to share their views on that particular report. Before this division bell, the deputy governor was given a chance to be heard, And using his legal team, 2 members who were representing him in the legal team, Moses Chelanga and Patrick Baraza, also stood to defend the deputy governor. Well, let's listen in to the speaker.
Senator Seki, kindly take your seat. Sergeant at Arms, kindly close the doors and proceed to draw the bar. Senator Kajwang. Honorable members, I now proceed to put the question. Senator Professor Tom Ojenda, you're out of order. Have your seat. Take your seat. That whereas pursuant to Article 181 of the Constitution and Section 33 of the County Governments Act, on 8th June 2023, the County Assembly of Siaya approved a motion to remove from office by impeachment of Honorable William Oduor, the Deputy Governor of Siaya County. And whereas by a letter reference CASA DM/33/04, dated Friday 9th June 2023, and received in the office of the Speaker of the Senate on Saturday 10th June 2023, the Speaker of the County Assembly of Siaya conveyed the resolution of the County Assembly removing from office by impeachment of Honorable William Oduor, the Deputy Governor of Siaya County, and further forwarded to the Speaker of the Senate documents in evidence of the proceedings of the Assembly. And whereas pursuant to Section 33(3)(b) of the County Governments Act and Standing Order 81B, the Senate, by resolution, on Thursday, 15th June 2023, appointed a special committee comprising 11 of its members to investigate the matter on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of Honorable William Oduor, the Deputy Governor of Siaya County, and to report to the Senate within 10 days of its appointment on whether it finds the particulars of allegations to have been substantiated. Further, whereas pursuant to Section 33(4) of the County Governments Act and Standing Order 82, the Special Committee has investigated the matter and tabled its report today, Monday, 26th June 2023. And whereas pursuant to Section 33(4) and 6B of the County Governments Act and Standing Order 84B, the Special Committee has found that the particulars of Charge 1, gross violation of the Constitution and other laws, and Charge 2, abuse of office and gross misconduct, have been substantiated. Now, therefore, pursuant to Section 33(6)(b) of the County Governments Act and Standing Order 84B, the Senate, after according the Honorable William Oduor, the Deputy Governor of Siaya County, an opportunity to be heard, resolves to impeach Honorable William Oduor, the Deputy Governor of Siaya County, on the following charges. Charge 1, gross violation of the Constitution and other laws, and Charge 2, abuse of office and gross misconduct. Now, honorable members, this is a hybrid session, and therefore voting will also be hybrid. For those members who are present in the chamber, we will proceed to vote electronically. And for those who are online, they'll also have a chance to vote. Before we proceed with the actual voting, honorable members, kindly remove or log out and the Sergeant at Arms kindly take all the cards remaining in the delegate units. Sergeant at Arms, kindly proceed to pick all the cards that are still remaining in the delegate units after the senators have pulled out theirs. Sergeant at Arms, we are waiting for your confirmation that indeed the remaining cards have been removed from the delegates' units. Are we done, Sergeant at Arms? Now, honorable members, kindly proceed to log back into the delegate unit. Proceed to log back. Senator Mogeni, kindly proceed, and Senator Mtata, kindly. Senator Montet, also proceed to take your chair. Honorable members, do I have your confirmation that you have logged back? Do we have that confirmation? Now, honorable members, Senator Boni. Now, honorable senators, proceed to vote by either pressing yes, no, or abstain. Now, we are going to vote per charge. So I will read the charge, you proceed to vote, and we get the results will be recorded. And then, after that, we proceed to charge number 2. So I'll proceed to read charge number 1. Gross violation of the Constitution and other laws. Proceed to vote on that charge. Honorable Senators, Senator Chirange, the session is still on. Can I have your silence, honorable members? Can I have your silence? There are 3 senators who are appearing online, so I need your silence as I call out the names so that they can proceed to vote online. Senator Ledama, proceed to vote.
I vote yes.
Thank you. Honorable Senators, can I have your silence, please? Senator Kathuri, proceed to vote. Can I have your silence, Senators? Senator Kathuri, proceed to vote, please. Clerk, can you look at the system, please? We cannot hear the Deputy Speaker. We cannot hear him. If you cannot hear him, Clerk, can you let him write on a sheet of paper so that he can show it on the screen? No, we are not lip readers here. Clerk. So we will move to Mungatana, Senator Mungatana. We will come back to Senator Gathuri. Senator Mungatana, kindly proceed to vote.
Mr. Speaker, can you hear me?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, greetings from Sierra Leone. I vote no.
Thank you. Now let's go back to Senator Gathuri. Have you fixed the system? Clerk, has the system been fixed? Senator Gathuri, proceed to vote. Clerk. Senator, can I have your silence so that we communicate with Senator Gathuri wherever he is? Now, Senator Gathuri, we cannot hear you, but I believe you can hear the chair. Kindly proceed to take a blank sheet of paper. Well. Wonderful. So proceed to vote. We can hear you now.
Honorable Speaker, I vote no.
Senator Mofaya Gataya, proceed to come and vote. Honorable Senators, Senator Chirangei, you understand the standing orders and what they provide when you're in the chamber. Kindly uphold the standing orders. Honorable Senators, you know the standing orders have not been suspended. This session is live and the standing orders remain in force. Senator Cheptumo, you can share those pictures later. Now, honorable Senators, these are the results of the division on charge number 1. The ayes 16, nays 27, abstention 0. So the nays have it. Now, honorable Senators, will proceed on a division on the second charge, which is abuse of office and gross misconduct. Senators, kindly log in if you've not logged in and proceed to press yes, no, or abstain. Senator Methu, Senator Chimera, Senator Chirange, you're becoming notorious. Now, honorable members, can I have your silence to allow the three senators who are online to also make their voice heard on this division? Senator Ledama, proceed to vote.
Mr. Speaker, I vote yes.
Senator Kathuri, proceed to vote.
Mr. Speaker, I vote no.
Senator Mungatana, kindly proceed to vote.
Mr. Speaker, I vote no.
Now, honorable senators, on the second charge, these are the results of your division. Ayes 16, noes 27, abstention 0. So the nays have it. Sergeant at Arms, you may proceed to open the doors and draw the bar. Now, honorable senators, the net effect of these votes is that pursuant to Article 181 of the Constitution, Section 33(8) of the County Government Act, and Standing Order 87 of the Senate Standing Orders, the Senate has failed to remove from office by impeachment Honorable William Oduor, the Deputy Governor of Siaya County, and that the Deputy Governor accordingly continues to hold office. Honorable Senators, there being no other business on the order paper, the Senate stands adjourned until tomorrow, Tuesday, 27 June 2023 at 2:30 p.m.
take this matter with a view to ensuring that the current FKF National Executive Committee is disbanded and subsequently elections of the new FKF committee are carried out. Number B, overhauls the Public Finance Management, Sports, Arts and Social Development Fund Regulations 2018 to cater for sports and arts exclusively. Number 3, that through the oversight mandate of the Senate ensures that the Cabinet Secretary for Sports, Culture and Heritage obeys court orders on FKF, and finally recommends that the alignment of FKF Constitution with the Kenyan and international sports laws as ratified by Kenya. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Now, honorable senators, I'm afraid I may not allow intervention pursuant to Standing Order 237 because of the packed order paper we have today. And instead, I'll proceed to commit the petition for consideration. In this case, I direct that the petition be committed to the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare for its consideration. And in terms of Standing Order 238-2, the committee is required in not more than 60 calendar days from the time of reading this prayer to respond to the petitioner by way of a report addressed to the petitioner and laid on the table of the Senate. It is so directed. Honorable Senators, there is another petition that I'll proceed to read it out. I hereby report that a petition has been submitted to the Senate by Mr. Charles Kunuka Kofia and others concerning delayed gazettement of approximately 1,577.86 hectares of land in Lugari Tabo Forest. As you're aware, under Article 1191 of the Constitution, and I quote, every person has a right to petition Parliament to consider any matter within its authority, including enacting, amending, or repealing any legislation. Now, honorable senators, the salient issues raised in this petition are as follows. 1, that the petitioners are among squatters from Mautama Central Settlement Scheme in Lugari constituency in Kakamega County. They were legitimately settled in the land measuring approximately 1,577.86 hectares in Lugari Tabo Forest in the year 1992. That the number of squatters in the settlement scheme has since risen after the first allotment. Hence, a further 2,482.12 hectares of land in Lugari Tabo Forest have been identified to settle the growing population. That the squatters do not have legal title deeds and they have been denied their right to property as provided for in the Constitution of Kenya and the benefits that come with ownership and title to land. That all due processes of the gazettement of the said piece of land have been followed, including public participation, environmental impact assessment, and approval by the Cabinet Secretary. The Cabinet Memorandum has been forwarded to the Kenya Forest Service for submissions to Parliament, and that the petitioners have made efforts to have this matter addressed by the relevant authorities, but there have been delays by the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, and that the responses have been inadequate. The petitioners, therefore, pray that the Senate intervenes in this matter with view to 1, investigate the delay to issue the recommendation to Parliament by the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, and Kenya Forest Services, and fast-track the recommendation for the gazettement of the 1,577.86 hectares in Lugari Tabo Forest comprising the Mautama Central Settlement Scheme. 2, make any recommendation that it deems fit on the matter. Now, honorable senators, again, for the same reasons as the earlier petition, I will not allow comments on this because of the heavy agenda before us. I will therefore proceed straight away to commit this petition as pursuant to Standing Order 238-1. In this case, therefore, I direct that the petition be committed to the Standing Committee on